right into jamming a little bit of this song off the top, man. I'll count us in.
Cool.
1, 2, 3. There's a little sample size of what's to come. Hello and welcome to Fender Play Live. I'm your host this week, Scott Goldbaum, and this week we're talking all about the big, bright, chorused out sound of early 80s pop guitar. We're talking Crowded House, The Police, of course Toto, and lots more. Plus we're giving away some gear as always, so make sure to stick around to the end. To help me out, please welcome my friend, our very special guest today, the one, the only, Izzy Fontaine.
Oh yeah.
Welcome, man. Good to have you here.
Thanks.
Now, we know you as a guitarist, songwriter, keyboardist. We could do a whole show with you just on the importance of being a multi-instrumentalist. But as a contemporary songwriter and producer, you've played with Seal, Banks. We shared the stage a couple hours apart last year at Bottle Rock when you were doing Harry Hudson, The Night Game, among so many others. And you're LA-based, so thanks for coming through our studios today.
This is rad. Not too far of a drive, so it was awesome.
Okay, brilliant, man. Well, we like to ask all of our guests this essential question since you've got this in your hands. How long have you been playing guitar?
About 20 plus years.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Did you start? I made it a point to mention a moment ago that you're a multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah.
Did you start with that as your first instrument?
You know, I kind of started as like a little kid playing drums and stuff like that. I always loved the rhythms, but really moved to guitar and kind of made that my primary instrument while always tinkering with keyboards and always keeping rhythm focused. So yeah,
that's cool, man.
So anything with strings, I've tried to jump on. You know how it is.
Love
you
that.
See the shape, and you're like, let's try it out. Bass
That's
or
exactly
guitar,
right.
you know, whatever.
Yeah,
It's
if
all
you
a lot of
like, I
fun.
think I'm a decent candidate if it's got a fretboard to try
Yeah,
to figure
exactly.
it out. I play mandolin.
Yeah.
And what do you have in your hand today? We just released these the other day.
This is the Lead 2 in this hot green color.
Yeah.
I actually have one of these from, you know, a previous life.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's really fun. I just love the idea of having single coils that far apart, and it's rad that they re-released this.
Yeah, the body shape feels really cool. I'm playing the Lead 3 with the humbuckers.
Yeah.
It's stupid cool.
Just a light little easy thing.
Can I hear a little bit of it? Just a little bit of jamming?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's just, we're kind of hinting by the tones you're hearing at the topic we'll be playing later today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much fun to play. I just love when the bodies are smaller like this.
Yeah.
But as you guys can hear, today we're talking all about 80s pop guitar. Now, if you have any questions throughout the episode, make sure to drop them in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them.
Yeah.
Now, this might be a bit of an unusual genre for your average guitar player, but we have an expert here today and we're going to show you how to get to that big, awesome, yeah, it doesn't, we have an expert here to make it a point to say, it doesn't have to be weird, it can be explored. And just discussing that awesome, big, full 80s pop guitar sound.
Yes.
So let's kick it off with a song. How about we just jump right into something that you'll notice right away. It's Crowded Houses, Don't Dream It's Over. I'll let you start us up, man.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a great template.
Ah.
There's so much space to that. That song, that progression is a really
Yeah.
good template for us to kind of begin to pick up some of the tones, identifying some of the things that are unique about this style. So to get started, get an idea of what we mean when we talk about this 80s pop rock sound, how would you describe this sound?
Usually off top, it's a lot of chorus,
Yeah.
a good old tri-chorus, and sometimes some really nice reverb, like a nice sweet, like long, decayed out reverb.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes a short gated one, and
Right.
yeah, just a lot of pitch modulation.
Yeah.
Sometimes thrown in like a harmonist or something just to kind of freak the sounds a little bit to make it feel nice and shimmery, and at least in the clean realm, and then.
Right.
The distortion sometimes can be really nice and buttery, and just you can throw it on really thick and make really cool textures that make it feel less like just a guitar plugged in. It's a little more processed, but everyone at the time, it feels like, had awesome rack units and all these effects and
Gear on
all
gear
these
on
gear on gear, and everyone was just like an arms race of trying to have the most gear, the best guitars, and be the best at what they did. And I just love that mentality.
Yeah,
Even though
man.
I don't claim to be the best guitar player, I love the idea of like Olympic style musicians that are just out there trying to make things sound the best they can with, the gear that was available at the time.
Yeah, well said, man. Can I hear just for a second? You're on that. Can I hear what that long reverb sounds like? I'm a little gated right now, but like if I just held that chord out, like really listen for that decay. Yeah, how shimmery and how unique that is to that era. Yeah, man. Yeah, and don't be afraid to apply this to leads too.
Yeah.
Which begs the question, as a modern day producer, you're not afraid to integrate this sound. In fact, you're really prone to use this sound from an otherwise like distinguished era, the 80s. What do you love about this sound? Like, what draws you to this style?
I've just been a fan of it my whole life. Like, as I slowly try to find the epicenter of what makes me excited about music,
Right.
I dig deeper into, stuff from my childhood, and always was the kind of person that would read the credits on the records and stuff. And different names kept popping up over and over again, and names like Dan Huff and Michael Landau, Steve Lukather would just keep popping up, and I'd be like, well, they did my favorite song here, and then this genre, and all these things, and it feels like it's really underrated and overlooked. That if you look at some of these names, you'll be like, these are all my favorite songs. It's almost unanimous, like every genre, so many people's favorite songs, from Madonna to the Titanic song to something else, it's all this group of dudes that were kind of out here with a similar arsenal of sounds, kind of keeping it, I don't know, that 80s sound, that AOR or whatever you want to call it kind of thing, the pop rock vibe. I think it's really, really important.
Well, we'll touch upon this a little bit later in the interview about some of the artists you think that are still carrying that torch.
Yeah.
And I mean, both on the independent pop rock scene and the massive mainstream scene. Again, we'll touch upon that in a little bit. But in the meantime, let's check out another tune. On Fender Play, we have a great collection of late 70s and early 80s pop rock tunes to learn. So make sure to check them out yourself. It's free to sign up. There's no discussion of 80s guitar that's not complete without a member. You've already referenced Steve Lukather.
Yeah,
Let's jam on a little bit of Toto. We'll take it from the top. We'll jam that little G octave thing. One thing I love about this song, and I'll encourage all you guys to check out before we jam this, there is an amazing isolated track of Steve Lukather just playing his guitar part to this. And if you're a fan, you'll love it. And if you're not yet a fan, you'll respect it. So let's take it from the top.
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4. let's talk about your thoughts on that song, on that band. You made reference to Steve Lukather early on.
Oh, man.
And all the members of that band, they weren't just members of that band.
Yeah. I mean, all just incredible session musicians, and it feels like that's kind of where a lot of my love of 80s music comes from, or at least guitar, in that is that it's usually a lot of people that are studio heads that are like, hey, also I want to be in a band because, you know, I'm working my day job, let's have some fun, and they just grab their homies that also happen to be the best in the world. So it's like these incredible, impossible bands, and they're all just writing awesome music and utilizing all of their sounds that are right there. So it's huge.
Yeah, man. I mean, you couple that arsenal of gear, all the access to the sounds with just like real musicality.
Yeah.
Again, whether you guys are already big fans of these artists or you're just looking to see like redeeming qualities in genres that you may not be as familiar with, the musicality, the amount of times like they'll modulate from section to section with these big key changes, or have these 3-bar phrases
and make it just feel like it's a normal thing that
that's the best
else
part.
Is doing. Yeah.
That's the best part,
it's
is making it seem
music.
Yeah, right. And that's the distinction. We're not really talking about like 80s pop. We're not talking about 80s rock. We're talking about 80s pop rock. So it's got some of these more distorted or high gain sensibilities just coupled with these lush sounds, and that kind of begs the question that if you're trying to get that 80s pop sound on your guitar, we talked about the chorus, but what are some effects you might use to get that tone? Starting from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, usually it's some way of manipulating the guitar to be a single coil, and I love throwing things out of phase, and I love chorus on chorus on chorus. I'll usually stack them, and if I'm being especially naughty, I'll throw on like 1 or 2 reverbs, or maybe a gated, and then maybe a super long kind of hall one with modulation on it. And, I love a very, very rude distortion, usually like a very metal kind of sound, whatever I can find. And
you commit to it.
Yeah, and I think that it makes it fun, and you know, you can always throw on like a tube screamer or something, but I always enjoy when it's just like, this one was the naughty one. You know, no one's picked it up in a minute, and let's pull it out.
Temperamental, just commit to it.
If it says heavy metal on it, like, let's go. Like, it's such a fun way to. I always also really love making my guitar feel like it's synth too.
100%. I was telling you we had an EDM artist who we really love, a big friend of the show, San Holo, come in here, and he was talking about like when you're trying to make your guitar sound like a different instrument, when you're trying to simulate a synthesizer, as you say, like I love it too, and I think pedals are a huge help of exploring this sound. But what's so cool about that is by the time you use your guitar and you use your pedals and you think outside the box with the chord progressions or your right hand or your rhythm hand's approach to it, by the time you create this sound, it's the only way you can get that instrumental sound is through using a guitar. You know, so again, like when you're playing those, you may be trying to simulate a pad, even if you're like, but a synth won't provide that same sound. So it is really unique to the guitarist to be able to do that. How about some 80s pop trivia? We like to throw some trivia in this show from time to time. Guys, drop your answers in the comments if you know it. And the first to get it right gets a shout out from us on air.
Yeah.
So how about you take over the first trivia question for today?
Okay, all right. I love this. Crowded House's guitarist went on to join what popular band? So drop it.
Oh, yeah, drop it in the comments. Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's kind of recent history too.
Yeah.
As a big hint, but not necessarily a recent band. So drop those answers in the comments. And earlier we mentioned chorus as an effect on electric guitars. But if you've ever wondered what exactly chorus is and whether it can be used on even an acoustic guitar, say, you come to the right place. Let's check out today's Insider for more.
Hi there, I'm Carrie Stewart, Fender Play instructor and session guitarist. A chorus effect is a great way to add some dimension to your guitar tone and is used in everything from pop to new wave and even heavy metal. You can hear chorus on everything from Walking on the Moon by The Police to Daft Punk's Get Lucky to Nirvana's Come As You Are. Many people tend to think of the shimmering wet sound of a chorus pedal as being just for electric guitar, but you can use chorus on acoustic guitar too. Nirvana's MTV Unplugged album is a terrific example of how the chorus effect can enhance an acoustic sound. Today, we'll discuss a few easy ways to get a chorus effect with your acoustic guitar sound. First, though, let's talk about what exactly chorus is. The term chorus comes from the effect created when the same note is played by several sources. For example, when a chorus of people sing the same note, there will naturally be very slight variations in the pitch of that note, resulting in a fuller sound. When applied to a guitar, the chorus effect combines your clean tone with a modulated tone that bends the pitch slightly, resulting in a shimmery and even sometimes wobbly sound. There's a few ways to get a chorus effect on acoustic. One way is to use a 12-string guitar. A 12-string guitar doubles up each string with either the same pitch on the top 2 strings or an octave up on the bottom 4 strings. The result is a richer, more ringing tone than a standard 6-string guitar. I've got this Fender Villager 12-string guitar here. Let's give it a listen. Some musicians even like to detune the doubled string very slightly for an even more dramatic chorus sound. Let's check it out. If you don't have a 12-string lying around, though, another way to achieve the chorus effect is to use a pedal. There's plenty out there, but today we're going to use Fender's Bubbler Analog Chorus. The great thing about a pedal is you can adjust the effect to your liking and get a lot of variation. I've set a little bit of rate and depth on this. Let's hear what that sounds like. Now we've cranked the rate and the depth, let's hear some of that wobbly sound. There's tons of options to play with and a lot of ways to vary how the chorus sounds on your guitar. Make sure to try out different approaches, different settings on your pedals, and see what works for you. The most important thing is to have fun. For more info, check out fender.com, and we'll see you next time.
That was sick.
Yeah.
That was wicked cool.
Yeah.
Man, I loved that. Guys, keep it weird. Embrace the weird.
That's what I'm saying.
So much.
That's what it is.
Well, welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. We do have a trivia winner in that time.
Yes.
So here we owe a big shout out. Again, the question was Crowded House's guitarist went on to join what popular band? Izzy, tell us the answer and the winner.
The answer is Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, baby.
And that was answered by Bud E. Dog.
Buddy Dog, you got
Yes.
it. Nice.
Yes. Yes.
Well, diving back into 80s pop rock, let's play another tune. And we should mention that was Neil Finn.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and check out this next tune, which is, of course, available on Fender Play. But what's special about this song, we just started launching Fender Play full song. So with this one, this means that you can learn every single part exactly as it appears on the album. So let's check it out. Let's try to do it justice. Here's Every Breath You Take by The Police. Yeah, I'll get us started. Yeah, man. All right, I got a couple things to say about this one. One, Sting loves, in Any Summer, they love those chords, those add nines.
Big stretchies.
Can I tell you how much I love this guitar for that reason? My goodness.
I could use that lesson as well.
Oh, yeah, guys. And then furthermore, for you guys who are using Fender Play, our very own Dylan, I'm pretty sure it was Dylan, designed this preset that I'm using. I'm just dialing into our Mustang GT. Can we get that confirmed, Dylan? You're right there.
That is correct.
Okay, cool. We'll see more of him in a second. But yeah, it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about a couple more effects that we didn't really mention, and one that's very apparent, that's delay for sure.
Yeah, totally.
But you were also talking about dimension. Can you kind of dive into that a little bit more for us?
That's huge. That's a really cool one that as I dive deeper into like, you know, the reason why I like a lot of sounds, like chorus is great and it modulates the sound in a pretty evident way.
Yeah, right.
Bands like The Cure and stuff like that, but dimension is like a lot more subtle. I believe it's just taking the sounds and rather than modulating the whole wave, it's just modulating one wave so that one is always a little bit out of phase.
That's cool.
And that's a lot more like Billy Idol, kind of like Eyes Without a Face or something like that. Like once you start to hear it, it's like really apparent and
what a cool detail.
A lot of fun. And usually with those dimension concepts, you get way less control. It's like 1, 2, 3, or 4 amount, and that's it. You know, whereas chorus you can dial it and change the stuff, but I like that with dimension it's a lot more subtle and you can stack it with a chorus.
Yeah, that's sick. Man.
Yeah,
layer upon layer. And like, look, when you're especially for people who are trying this for the first time, round up. Get carried away.
Yeah, go too big and always like maybe dial it back, but or don't. That's kind of the funnest thing. Me and a lot of my friends, we really like to just try to be as bad as possible and, you know, try to break something, like try to take it to the extreme and, you know, see what happens.
So that's a great senior year quote. Be as bad as possible. Try to break something.
Yeah.
Take it to the extreme. Dr. Izzy Fontaine. So as we discussed, we're starting to hear this sound pop up in modern music again. In fact, I would venture to say that it's been emerging pretty steadily for a long time now.
Yeah.
And maybe if you're new to the genre, what would be some other artists to check out that have totally hit the mainstream and others who you've either worked with or are excited about that are, you know, rising in the scene?
I mean, you got bands like 1975 out here doing it, like really doing some cool steps, and even bands like Paramore and stuff that are.
That's right.
Like
their most recent record.
As you work with I see different people working with different producers, and those producers are like, come on, like let me show you the dark side.
Yeah.
It's
Point
really
of no
awesome.
return.
And you know, bands like The Night Game and stuff that you know, I'm playing with them and finding out a lot of ways to push it to the extreme, and
so cool.
A lot of like different people that I play with when I play live allow me to, you know, bring those elements into it, because a lot of those elements are like session players that have played on huge songs that, you know, from Shania Twain to Bryan Adams to, you know, whatever. It's a really cool sound, and I think it means a lot in terms of like just feel and vibe. It just brings a different energy to it.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem static.
Yeah.
It seems like it's characterized by dynamic.
I'm trying to put it in as much as I can in different productions. Bonavega is another artist that I'm working with right now, and he was just out here.
We just saw him. He's actually
grab a guitar.
Artist,
and he was another person that was just like, let's go all the way. You know, we were listening to like Def Leppard and Mutt Lange, who's like a huge piece of that puzzle in terms of like dimension and chorus.
Who's the artist? I missed that after Def Leppard.
Mutt Lange was the producer who did Def Leppard on top of, you know, AC/DC. He was married to Shania Twain and produced all of her music for a long time. And
the applications of this sound to so many different genres.
Oh, it's so once you start to see it, then you see it everywhere, and it's so cool. Really wild. And Dan Huff was a session player, and him and Mutt Lange got along, and so he's on a lot of those records, and so the through lines are just really, really heavy. And yeah.
Well, and we say that all the time, like don't be genre prejudiced.
Yeah.
You're gonna see that there's so much crossover all of the time.
Yeah.
Last up, we got one more tune to play for everybody, and that's a great rock anthem by a band that has become friends of the show, and that's the one and only, I only say their name like this, Night Ranger.
Night Ranger.
Let's play a little bit of Sister Christian. Is that cool? I'm gonna kind of interpret the piano part finger
Yeah.
style for now. I think it's something like.
It's so tight.
Cool. Nice, guys.
Fun trivia fact.
Bring it.
I was always like wondering like what is motorin, and I was always kind of
Oh yeah, motorin.
I was like, what does that mean?
It's a verb. What is motorin?
If I'm not mistaken, the drummer of the band wrote it about his sister Christina, who was going out and hopping in cars when they were younger, and they would hop, and people would call it motorin, as he would like kind of cruise and go get into trouble, make out, and so it's kind of a tribute to say like, yo, you don't have to like go out and be motoring with all the wild boys. You can kind of like take your time and be a person.
Yeah. Motorin. They were so ahead of their time, man.
So rad. Yeah.
That's great. I love that. Well, Izzy, you're the best, man. This is so much fun. I'll tell you what, the next thing that's coming up, it's our job to inspire, I don't know if we've done that, but it's definitely our job to assign homework to members of our Facebook community.
Love it.
So let's get to it. Every week we like to assign homework to our viewing community, especially those in our Fender Play community of learners who are often posting these assignments. For those in our community, make sure to post your homework before next week for a chance at a shout out on the next episode. Izzy, how about you help us out with the homework for this week, starting with our beginners.
Beginners play the intro to Don't Dream It's Over at half speed. I think that's a really, really rad way to kind of just take off your...
Yeah, kind of deconstruct the chord.
Just kind of working on your strumming.
One thing that's great for our beginners who are just starting, like all of these assignments today are kind of like beginners who are ready for intermediate who are almost ready for advanced, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So as a beginner, if you're starting to work on bar chords, what's cool about this is that it doesn't require too much movement. If anything, you're deconstructing the bar chord by lifting your pinky.
Great.
And it's a cool template to try effects on too.
Totally.
You hear it right away, adding the chorus, some reverb, maybe a little bit of delay. How about for our intermediate players?
Intermediate, playing the intro to Every Breath You Take at full speed.
Yeah, man.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's a tough intermediate, which I dig.
Yeah, totally. So again, kind of just, if you get a look at this guy right here. There's different schools of thought on how to accomplish this. You know, you can play it as an open chord too.
That was how I always learned it, and then seeing how you do it, it's
That sounds
really
great.
rad,
That
too.
sounds great. Jump in.
It all kind of gives a different voicing.
Yeah, it does. Like some more open strings, and then maybe that works for the genre better. And then how about our advanced players?
Advanced.
Kind of an open ending.
Yeah, I mean, play your favorite 80s pop rock guitar solo. And
Remind us of some of who your favorite pop rock guitarists are from the 80s.
Dan Huff, I keep saying it over
Yeah.
and over again, but like, do your homework. It's so good. The more you dig in, the more you'll be like, oh, he's my favorite guitar player too. I didn't
even
realize.
know, yeah.
And it's like so many unsung heroes, and Michael Landau, Steve Lukather, like I'm saying, like all these people, you look at these records and you're like, oh, that was my favorite song. Didn't know who did the solo, but now I got it.
Yeah, and that information has never been more readily available. And it's fun. It's
Yeah.
a maze.
Yeah.
Izzy, we are so grateful to have you come through, man. You've been so much fun. And we like to ask all of our artists and guests this. What's forthcoming for you, or what do you have in the works?
Yeah.
Talk to us. Let us know what's going on.
I'm a big user of the internet, so I'm usually posting stuff on there that I'm up to, and producing a lot, writing, touring, kind of just the whole thing. Whatever's music related, I'm about it. But yeah, definitely trying to be home more to play with sounds and guitars and produce.
That's great, man.
And yeah.
Well, where can we find you? Especially, what's your Instagram handle? I know you're pretty active there.
It's just Izzy Fontaine,
There it is.
Just trying to let people know about it. I post a lot of stories, so some people are into that and some aren't.
The
But
vast majority of human beings I know who know of you are very into it. Well, give it up one more time for Izzy Fontaine, man. Thank you so much for coming. It was so much fun.
I appreciate it.
All right, we'll switch some things up. Next up, let's bring on our community guru. And we're going to, as always, see what's happening in the community this week. You guys have been such a supportive community through and through. We love to take some time at the end of every episode to acknowledge it. So as always, please welcome the one, the only, Dylan.
Hello!
He's
Hello!
here.
Hello, hello, hello! Hello!
Oh, wow, you're here.
Yes.
And you have a different instrument.
I do. This old thing right here? Yes.
It looks anything but old. What
It
are you
is
playing?
nothing but old. No, it is actually not old, but it's based off of the famous 70s and 80s models of the Lead 2. This is the Lead 2. You
Yeah.
have the Lead 3, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. I got the one with the humbuckers and a couple different things when it comes to the phase options.
Yeah, I have a phase option. It's between these two pickups. It has a little bit of a different tone. Let's see
Here, hit
if I
that
can-
tuner.
So. Switch the phase over. Whoops, that was the pickup.
There you go.
It's like richer, it's darker. It's running parallel versus series. So, science! I don't know what, I don't know what either one of those things means, but they are words. Use the dictionary. Yeah. Yeah,
Cool, man.
that's the guitar. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, it's always cool to introduce new gear, but I know that everybody who's watched and anticipating the end of the show is always wanting us to get to the giveaway. So let's jump right into it.
Yes.
Every week on Fender Play Live, we give away a free piece of gear to a Fender Play subscriber just for hitting their weekly practice streak. Let's follow me on this. To hit your streak, all you need to do is practice 3 times a week for a minimum of 7 minutes each time. We're talking a cumulative 21 minutes, guys, and that qualifies you for the Fender Play giveaway. So not only are you getting better, keeping yourself accountable to it, but it's a free entrance in this lottery. So Dylan, tell us what they can win.
Glad to. The lucky winner gets to choose from a list of Strats, Tellys, Jazzmasters, basses, amps, all just for practicing.
That's right.
Yeah. And the best part is, the more consecutive streaks you hit, the more chances you have to win.
Best practice incentive I've ever heard of. And it's announced right here on Fender Play Live. So without further ado, Dylan, who is this week's lucky winner? Take it.
Let's do it, let's do it. David T, David T, David T.
There you go.
There we go, David.
David T. And that's it. All right, David T.
We're so happy for David, that's all.
Congratulations, David T. Make sure to share your gear in the community if you're a member. For more info on how you guys can win the giveaway, check the link in the description. And as we've mentioned, we have an awesome, excellent, and ever-growing community of learners. Dillis, tell us more about this. There's some cool updates that have to do with data and numbers, and that's always exciting to us. So I remember when this community consisted of 300 people. So take it from there.
Yes, well, our hearts go out to the community this week because it's been a fantastic week. If you want a spot where you could access Scott, myself, I don't know why you'd want to access me, but you could access us and all the teachers that are on the site and other people. Like, you can talk about everything with all of us. So it's worth joining the community just to access that resource.
Yeah, especially for all you guys who are posting videos or even audio clips of the songs that you're learning on our platform. We as teachers are always available for follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Please take full advantage of that. You're going to see our names at Fender and tag us, especially if we're your teacher in the given video. Take full advantage of that.
Yeah, that's
we love
something you
hearing
get
from you.
just for being a member, basically. So you become a member, then instantaneously you run to Facebook and add the group, and you have 3 simple questions to answer, and then you're in the group. And it's something to where basically all the members come on and they engage each other, and they share stories, and they talk about what's giving them trouble, what they're having fun with, all that type of stuff. So there's 2 shout-outs I want to do this week. One of them is Aaron Henry, who's a gentleman that's, we've talked a lot about his son a couple times. Hunter, I believe is his name.
Cool.
But this time we're giving a shout out to you, Aaron.
Yeah.
Boom. He shared a video of himself playing and singing in the community. It was fantastic, so we want to give you a shout out for that. And then
Love that, man.
Julie Davidson, a new ukulele player. And we don't give ukuleles their due all the time.
That's true. We don't.
It's an important instrument, very important.
Way to break that mold.
Yes. And so Julie posted her, she's a brand new player, 2 weeks in. She's already playing a song. That's right. That's right. So, I mean, that's what this is all about. This is about people like sharing their process and showing us where they're at. And everybody remembers what it was like to start out and how like kind of, it takes a lot of courage to put yourself playing a video out 2 weeks in. I wouldn't even order flowers and put a video of me on doing it 2 weeks in. It's just not going to happen.
That was a really quick analogy that I think landed perfectly.
Thinking about flowers a lot.
But to your point, it takes a lot of courage. And every week we're adding new songs and skills to the site. So there's always something new for you guys to learn. Just this month we've added songs from Bowie, Weezer, the Kinks, the Beatles, so much more. Dylan, what's newsworthy for this week?
Yeah. Well, so a couple new tunes this week. Big one here, Brass in Pocket. So if you're into the popcorn pick, they were popcorn picking earlier, right? I almost said pork corn, totally different thing. So you have that's the popcorn picking technique, but there's the guitar too is doing this. So if you're into that type of thing, which can annoy the neighbors, or they might love it, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. And then we've also got cool major ninth chords, like that type of sound.
A lot of the stuff we were playing earlier.
If you guys were into those, you can always look up that concept on Fender Play and learn about it. I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about
You know it, you love it. Woo! It's Hold My Hand.
And then I only want to be with you. So that's it. That's it.
Hold My Hand by Hootie and the Blowfish.
I worked on that for several hours today, so I don't hear any negative comments.
Talk about courage. And then what else do we have? What other forthcoming songs?
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you took the attention away from that. So we've got Adam Craig, Casey Musgrave, Static X with Push It. We also have the actual Push It from Salt and Pepper on there. Salt and Pepper. We have Cinderella, The Vapors, and I believe that's it.
And that's for our community of 18,600 plus people, which just deserves such a huge thank you. And while we're at it, we want to give one more big thank you to our guest, Izzy Fontaine, today.
Yes. Great job, Izzy.
So much fun, such a cool episode. Thank you guys for sticking around for all these wacky, cool, genre-specific videos. We have such a fun time learning from our guest, and as always, our main man, Dylan, our community guru. Thank you for coming.
Only want to be with you.
Guys, as always, keep practicing. We'll see you for more next time. Join us on that G chord as we strum out. Adios, everybody. Here it comes.